Hi, I'm Chris. I'm just going to give you a few tips on how to use the amazing tool Reaper just to do some basic recording stuff. I see a lot of people using Audacity and Reaper can do all the same stuff and more, and it's very cheap and they're lovely guys. So just before I tell you what I'm going to do, so I'm going to show you how to put on a noise gate to take out background hum. And I'm going to show you how to put on compression to stop differences in volume. So I'll show you that in a sec. Before I do, I'm just showing you what I'm recording on. I've got a USB setup. Hang on, let's see if I can show you. I've got one of these boxes. I've got a very nice one, but you can use anything really. The one thing really I would recommend is a pop shield like this, because that will stop things that is very hard to take out in post. Okay, you're going to see my screen now. So here we are with the Reaper window, and as you can see we've got a track already installed here. So I recorded a quick demo track for us. It's just me talking, but I intentionally put on some rain sound really loud in the background. Now this is going to be horrible noise. The recording is unsalvageable, but let me just play it to you so you can hear the rain sound of me talking. This is some example audio. This is some example audio. This is some example audio. Talking loud, talking quietly, talking loud, talking. So I think that's quite enough of that. But so you can hear that sss in the background. However, what we can achieve by putting on a simple gate and a little bit of compression is we can make the difference between these very loud bits and these very quiet bits, and we can get rid of some of that noise. Obviously, with how bad this noise is, it's never going to be perfect. But when you've got a little hum in the background, or just a little bit of a problem, this is one way you can deal with it. There are others, but these are two very simple ones that can take you about 2 minutes to set up. So this is an example of the audio tidied up. In fact, let me just switch between them. So this is one of them. This is the original sound again. This is some example audio. This is some example audio. This is some example audio. Talking loud. Talking quietly. Talking loud. Talking quietly. Talking loud. Talking quiet. And what you can notice here is with the original audio, let me just put that on there. So when we're playing here, you can see it's actually audio. Talking loud. Talking quietly. Talking loud. And depending on what your listeners are listening on, it's probably not going to be a huge issue, but it could be that level of volume difference there is enough to make it really uncomfortable in your headphones while you're walking along or whatever, and then too quiet to hear. Whereas in the edited version, if we just go here, and if you have a look at this thing here, which gives us an idea of if we're spiking or not. Some example audio. Talking loud. Talking quietly. Talking loud. So you can see we've managed to bring in a much more reasonable level there. So I'll just demonstrate what I've done with that there quickly for you. I've accidentally created some extra ones of these. Let me just delete those. Okay, so if we go into the one that we have edited here, what we've got these two effects set up. Okay, there's ReaGate, which is a Reaper built-in gate, and a compression. So if we look at the gate first of all, so again, this is it turned off. This is some example audio. This is some example audio. Turned on. This is some example audio. Talking loud. Talking quietly. Talking loud. Ignore that. I didn't actually mute the other one. Let's try that again. So you can hear the background hiss with and without it. Okay. This is some example audio. This is some example audio. This is some example audio. Now, the way that you set a gate, okay, there's two things here. So you've got this threshold here, okay, which you can adjust up and down. And that's the point that the sound, everything below that will be cut out. So let me just give you a demonstration. This is some example audio. So if we turn it up really high, we just lose all the sound. If we put it all the way down to the bottom, some example audio. It does nothing. Talking loud. Because it lets everything through. So what you want to do is find out where your talking is spiking to, and you want to put it just below the talking but above the background noise. So as I press play, and I'll fiddle with that and you'll see it happen. This is some example audio. This is some example audio. This is some example audio. Talking loud. Now, if it's too high, you'll start to get it clipping. So as it goes, this is some example. It'll cut out a bit too quickly. Let me just show you. This is some example audio. This is audio. This is some example audio. Talking loud. Talking quietly. Talking loud. Quietly. So the key is you want it just low enough to be below the main body of your talking and above a background noise. And actually, if you've got a better recorded thing, I've intentionally recorded this to be horrible, but if you've got a better recorded thing, often that can be a real game changer. You can go from a little bit of a background hum to almost nothing at all. The other thing to change is the release here. So this is how gently it lets go when it's cutting the sound out. So I'll just show you. Without it, what happens is you go from a very stark transition and it's very obvious. So let me just press play again. This is some example audio. This is some example audio. And if we increase it, this is some example audio. Talking loud. This is some example audio. This is some example audio. So just to show that again, let me just put it really short and you'll see how it's like, this is some and the hissing stops straight away, but actually it makes it more noticeable, the change to your ear. This is some example audio. This is some example audio. So now if we increase that release to usually about 5, so about half a second. This is some example audio. This is some example audio. This is some example audio. Talking loud. Brilliant. So that's how you use a gate. And you can fiddle with those settings, but the key ones really are this threshold level here and the release there. Now let's go to compression. So that is the difference between, if I turn the compression is off at the moment. So if you just have a look here, the difference between where the volume reaches at its loudest and where it reaches at its quietest. So let's just press play again. Example audio. Talking loud. Talking quietly. Talking loud. Talking quietly. And now if I turn on the compression. Example audio. Talking loud. Talking quietly. Talking loud. Talking quietly. And you can see this dial here, this gives you an idea of how much that compression is having to kick in. So if you just watch as it goes through this loud chunk again here. This is some example audio. Talking loud. Talking quietly. So you can see it's taking out a big chunk. Now there is two main settings here. Again, there's lots of complicated things that I'll be honest I don't understand, but the two ones here are this threshold, which is the point at which the compression kicks in, and compression is basically like a squasher, so everything above that height gets squashed down, and so the difference between what's happening at this level and what's happening at this level gets much smaller. And then the ratio sets how squashed things get. So if we drop it down to sort of 1.5, which is a much more gentle, natural sounding squashiness, it does this. So let's just press play. This is some example audio. Talking loud. Talking quietly. And what you notice there, we still didn't spike. We still didn't manage to clip and actually go too loud. But at the same time, it preserved the difference between loud and quiet a little bit more. There was a more noticeable difference between the two. You don't really want to go up above about 3 or 4 because it can sound quite artificial. Let's try going up to like 20. And what should happen really is it just won't really get any louder from the talking to the shouting. This is some example audio. Talking loud. Talking quietly. Talking loud. Talking quietly. So you can see there actually the volume level is exactly the same, but it can sound very flat, especially if you're doing anything like music or anything like that. It can be a bit horrible, but vocals are a lot more forgiving on that perspective. And that's it. So with those two things there, we've taken a very noisy, bumpy signal, this one here, This is some example audio. This is some example audio. Talking loud! Clips and hurts your listeners' ears. And we've changed it to something that's still rubbish, like in terms of that background noise, but it has clearly been made to just be that bit more listenable and professional. This is some example audio. This is some example audio. This is some example audio. Talking loud. Talking quietly. Talking loud. Talking quietly. Thank you very much for listening. You can find me on Twitter as @CMLowry. Have a good day.